may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
Okay guys, so yesterday in the video I told y'all to go down to the comment section, let me know what y'all want to see next, and overwhelmingly y'all told me, hey Mason, we want to see some cut candidates, we want to see some hitters that we can drop off our roster to pick up some intriguing waiver wire guys, some guys that have upside for us to possibly change the course of our fantasy baseball season. So of course that's exactly what we are going to be doing. Now of course, guys, if you disagree with me with any of these players, go to the comment section. Say, hey, everybody watching this video, don't listen to Mason. He's an idiot. He doesn't know what he is talking about, which is entirely true. You are right on that. But what you have to do is you have to say why I'm wrong. You have to say why other people should listen to you. That way we can all get better, because my goal on this channel is not to act like I'm the smartest guy in the room, because I'm not. My goal on this channel is to have everybody subscribe to the channel, getting better at fantasy baseball. And if that means we're all working together, that is just so much better than me just talking by myself on here directly to y'all. But outside of that, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and let's dive into the video. And the first guy we are going to be talking about is going to be Shawn Murphy, who is still rostered in about 59% of leagues currently. So of course, if you're playing in a deep 12-man, 14-team league, you're really not going to be looking at possibly cutting Shawn. But this is going to be specifically for the people that are playing in those shallower formats. Maybe you play in an 8-man league. I know that we've had some comments that for whatever reason, people are playing in 6-man leagues, and this is the player for you. Of course, we're going to go deeper and deeper as we get through the video. But rostered at about 59% of leagues right now. Yes, he is a catcher, and yes, we know the bar for you to have catchers on your roster is going to be a lot lower than the other positions, just because it's going to be harder to find that top-end production. So if you have any guy that you think has the upside, that is going to be the way you're chasing. But here with Shawn, one, he's in a very bad lineup for the Oakland A's. That's the first thing that we know we need to avoid. And two, he's just not getting every at-bat. He is kind of splitting time right now. I mean, in 2021, he's only seen 22 at-bats so far this season. And yes, you could say, but he has promise, hold on to him, and maybe that could be the case. If he came out here and while he was splitting time with those 22 at-bats, he saw an average above 300, he saw an on-base percentage, say at 350, and a slugging over 400, and the management team went, you know what? Shawn is someone we need to be getting more at-bats. We need to be getting him more in-game action. Then we would be all in on him for fantasy baseball. But the problem is, right now, the coaching staff isn't fully committed to him. To go along with that, he's giving them no reason to be. I mean, in those 22 at-bats, he has a 136 average, a 296 on-base percentage, and a 227 slugging. So, yes, I guess you could say that this is small sample, overlook it, and hopefully the management changes their stance on him going forward. But as it stands, I mean, he is trending entirely in the wrong direction, and at the very least, you need to be making sure that if you have an intriguing pickup, Shawn Murphy is one of the guys that you're looking at cutting. Now, if we go take a step back, if we try to look at a larger sample to draw from, really it's going to be hard. Shawn Murphy, the largest sample that we have from him actually came last season in 2020, and that sample was only 116 at-bats. So it's going to be hard to draw anything here. I mean, in those 116 at-bats, still wasn't great, did hit for power, but he had a 233 average, a 364 on base percentage, and a 457 slugging. So I know that you drafted him for the upside, but simply we just have no reason to believe that's coming anytime soon. So if you have an intriguing pickup that you want to be going for, like the next Yerman Mercedes, then I think this is a player you look to cut. Okay, so now let's go over to another position that production's hard to come by. Let's go over to the third base position with Austin Riley. Now, he is rostered in 45% of leagues currently, so this is going to be another player that he's going to be mainly a cut for those shallow league formats, playing for the Braves, 24 years old. Now, yes, we understand that the sample sizes we have to look at him are very small as well. I mean, that's what you're going to find with the 24-year-old player that's been going back and forth from the minor to the major league program pretty much his entire career. But even if you go through and you average his entire major league numbers together, I mean, he only has 496 at-bats, and with those averages come a 230 batting average, a 288 on-base percentage, a 431 slugging. And specifically, this has been very bad in 2021. I mean, the average is down there at 206. The on-base percentage is at 289. And the slugging is right there with the average. So here, yes, he has upside. But we have to sit here and question, okay, we have not seen elite production yet at the major league level. We understand that this is a hitter that has power, but power is easy to come by. To go along with this, he can end up getting sent back to the minors. It's entirely possible to see that happening if he can't step his game up right now. So maybe even if you're playing in a shallower league format, you want to just wait. You want to see if anything changes. And then if he does get called down to the minors, that's when you can drop him off your roster. But I just want to make sure that people are having realistic expectations here. Okay, so now let's go to our third guy we are going to be talking about, rostered in about 30% of leagues. So we're going deeper and deeper here. This is going to be Hunter Dozier, who is playing for the Royals, 29 years old, and has some roster flexibility with where you can put him. But my God. Okay, so 2021 has not been good for him. I mean, he has had 16 at-bats, not a single hit to go along with this, only 2 walks. Now, I will say this is the one player we're going to be a little bit hesitant to say cut outright because we have a large sample recently from him where he looked good. He looked good on the field. I mean, in 2019, he had 523 at-bats to go along with this, a 279 average, a 348 on-base percentage. More importantly, though, a 522 slugging. So that's going to be the reason that if you want to hold out any hope for Hunter, that's going to be it. It's going to be the slugging. It's going to be the power. Now, another thing that we have to talk about is the fact that this is going to be a player that never gives you stolen bases, so you need to have that realistic viewpoint with why you have him on your roster. And we know those players in fantasy baseball that are literally just going to be a 0 in the stolen base category, they better be coming through with fantastic batting statistics because stolen bases are so hard to come by that if you can get a guy that just randomly pops off and has the potential to get you 2 stolen bases in a given week, that is literally week changing. That's going to win you that category. So if you have a player that we can pencil in 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 stolen bases going forward, just the bar for those hitting statistics is going to be a little bit higher because if he is not providing for you in that given category, he better be above average in all the other ones. Okay, so now let's get to our next player now. We're going very deep here. He's only rostered in about 8% of leagues currently, so the majority of people don't have him on their roster. But now, if you're playing in a 14-man league, this is where you start to consider cutting him. It's going to be Elvis Andrus, who is currently hitting 8th in the lineup for the Oakland A's, and that's going to be the problem here. Obviously, if you're playing for the A's, what you need is you need a hitter that's going to be at the top of the lineup because this is a team that's not going to be able to get through it that many times. We know that this lineup is just one that you want to be avoiding. We talk about this all the time because bad lineups, A, you're less likely to see the large number of at-bats. B, when your player goes up to the plate, they're less likely to generate RBIs. And C, when they get on base, they are less likely to be able to score because the hitters after them just aren't going to be able to put the ball in play as often as you would see with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, in 2021, we actually have, I don't want to say a large sample because obviously none of these samples are large in 2021, but we have a decent number of at-bats to look at with 42. And simply with 42 at-bats, he's given the management no reason to decide to move him to the top of the lineup with a batting average at 119, with an on-base percentage at 156, a slugging at 167. Now, if you go to 2019, yeah, he had good numbers, and this is the reason why he was being drafted in some fantasy baseball leagues, because in 2019, he had 600 at-bats. More importantly, though, 31 stolen bases, which we know is going to make a massive difference over the course of the season. Now, the batting statistics were just kind of average with a 275 batting average, a 313 on base, and a 393 slugging. But like we said, those stolen bases are so important that if you get that kind of stat line, that's going to make the difference over the course of the entire season. Simply, I just don't think he has access to that at this point, and the lineup's bad enough where we can go, you know what, I'm just fine avoiding. Okay, so let's get our last player up here. It's going to be an outfielder for the Texas Rangers in Leury Tavares, who is rostered in about 25% of leagues right now, and yes, he's an upside guy. I mean, only 22 years old, but this is another guy you wanted to see him at the top of the lineup, and he's batting 8th. and he's possibly going to be going back to the minors because we go through, and his 2021 season so far has been very disappointing, where he's seen 28 at-bats with a batting average of 107, on base percentage of 167, and the slugging the same as the average. So obviously those numbers aren't ideal. And what's also bad to look at is the largest sample we have on him, of course, comes from 2020 because he is an extremely young player. And there, he had 119 at-bats, a 227 average, a 308 on-base percentage, and a 395 slugging. So really, at this point, with the possibility of him going down to the minors, with him batting 8th in the Texas Rangers lineup, I just think he is someone we're fine cutting off our rosters. Now, thank you guys. I really hope you all enjoyed this video. Of course, go down there, drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a ton. And yeah, that should be it. I will see y'all with the video tomorrow.